Inside Africa, in association with Zenith Bank.
In Nairobi's urban congestion, a group of young people came together for a radical purpose.
What if we give this Dandora a good name? That even when you are outside there, you can tell someone and be proud that I come from Dandora.
Now, cramped quarters are giving way to green spaces, and a new generation is working to build the world they want.
We want a fresh air. We want the upcoming generation to find a better place where they can come rest. Because here in the informal settlement, it's hard to find a place like that.
Now we want to be that generation that is going to bring a change to this nation. It's not that you must have money or million to be a millionaire to bring a change in your community. It's just a simple thing that you're doing that can have an impact to the community or to the people living around you.
This is the story of community transformation in Kenya. This is Inside Africa. In the outskirts of Nairobi, the neighborhood of Dandora, a place of concrete houses and iron sheet roofs. From his single-room home, Evans Otieno sets off for the day. He's a man on a mission.
What gets me up in the morning is to continue with the transformation of my community. Wake up in the morning to make sure that the streets are clean, make sure that the places where the children are playing, are they safe and also are they clean.
Each morning he winds through these passageways and enters into a bright new world. Amidst the grey and urban oasis, a place of tranquility.
When I'm making this garden, I normally feel that peace inside me, because even in the Bible it's written, garden, there is somehow garden is associated with positive things. So I decided if we can come up with the project of garden for the community.
This is a community garden built on public land and managed by Evans.
And it's just somewhere where you can come for a soul search. You can just come and learn some new ideas.
Decoration is repurposed found items, used tires, rubber boots, a colonial helmet. The fish tank, however, came new.
The most of the raw material here have come and have recycled them to be as flower pot. We have made them using the material that are hazard to the environment. So when we bring them here, they are not hazard here. Here at least we are using them in a positive way.
And always with a positive spin.
My message is not only to transform this space, but also to try and transform the mindset of people. So when they come here and they read that, there is somehow he will come out of this place with a message that will help him in his life.
In Nairobi's highly concentrated low-income areas, a free, open community park is an unusual sight.
When you go to the other side of Western, where the rich stay, you'll find that each rich person in this world have come to realize that they have a garden. They have somewhere at least where they can come, go and rest. But you'll find that on the other part of the Eastland, it's very rare for you to find a garden that the government has just made for them to go and rest. So that is when we decided that we are not going to wait for the government to come, because I know for sure they won't do that. But we are going to be that change that this society needs.
Dandora was a planned development built in the 1970s with basic infrastructure like drains, roads, even spaces for public use. But over time, more families squeezed in and conditions became crowded. Around double the population it was built for. Infrastructure became dilapidated, And with no regular upkeep or maintenance, public spaces became an easy place to throw trash. Evans's garden used to be a dump site like this one down the road.
So this is going to be useful for my garden. We encourage the use of recycling this one. So instead of them being a hazard to the environment, then at least we are using them in a more constructive way.
His neighbors call him manager. He is known to all around for his gardening. No longer a dump site, this land is a place for creativity and invention, where an old TV becomes a new pot to plant in.
We all, each human being in this world, needs somewhere there he can go and think about his life. And the only place where you can think about your life are these kind of spaces, because in the house you will find that you have children there, kids are there, you are not at peace at that place. But when you come to garden is a quiet place. It's a quiet where it's a place where at least you can have a meeting with yourself.
Dandora wasn't always so peaceful.
For the last, if I tell you last 10 years, Dandora was a no-go zone. Just to see people start touching their phones, their wallets, they believed everybody coming from Dandora is a criminal or a prostitute.
Unfortunately, Dandora had become synonymous with his neighbor.
Dandora has a very big dump site. So this dump site it came with the negative side of it. So this dump site, it was a hideout for youth who were involved in crime. So you'll find that when we were growing up here in Dandora, you'll find that most of the role model, the people that we were looking up to in life, most of them were thieves.
Evans was one of these thieves. He lost both his parents by the time he was 10 and supported himself and his sister through robbery.
I've seen most of my friends lose their life here in Dandora. So I've seen a lot of criminal activities happening here in Dandora.
We will bury like 2-3 youths in a week. And that was a huge number of youths we lost. To me, I say we have lost an entire generation of youths due to crime.
It reached a point that we said that, what if we start something positive that can bring a change into this Dandora? The same way we took part in giving it a bad name, we are going to take a part in giving it a good name.
Evans joined a group working to clean up Dandora's community spaces, the Dandora Transformation League. They started by cleaning drains which were clogged with trash and caused flooding.
We did not have gumboots, did not have overalls like this. Whatever we had, we worked with. One wheelbarrow, one mattock, one spade, and one rake. Everybody in the society was thought that we were crazy.
But soon it turned into something more. Neighborhoods competed to see who could create the best spaces for their people. Places to dump rubbish turned into places of beauty.
And you have to show that you are better than the others. In fact, best in terms of creativity, innovation, anything you can do that can at least can make your entire space look neat, clean, beautiful, and also safe.
Community spaces with lush greenery, parks along the river, even an area with a trampoline for children.
I can definitely say that we've seen a big interest from the communities from other parts of Nairobi. It's a lot because people start realizing that this lack of good quality public spaces really affects them.
Evans says the community committed to paying about 30 US cents per family per month for tools and labor to maintain the community parks. Businesses paid for street cleaning, which improved foot traffic and sales. With no trash and more shade in the park areas, residents reported improved mental and physical health. And officials point to the benefits in the fight to stop climate change.
You can see that last time was rubbish dump. You can see the gas, methane gas. You can smell it at that time. It doesn't go to the lung. It's not healthy. And now, it's much better. That is one. You can see in terms of the, as I said, the drain is now better. And you can, when I came here last time, I feel very warm. Now you can see that they planted the trees. They is also reduced the temperature. This is marvelous. This is, to me, is an achievement.
Our aim, our vision is to make Nairobi, every corner, every sleigh or everywhere you go, alley, wherever, corridor, you'll find a beautiful, clean, safe and nice place that you'll feel comfortable to be in.
Coming up, growing the green movement to new spaces.
We have a plan to transform this place so that we can make it a garden for the community living in this area. I can assure you, when we are done with this place is going to be one of the most beautiful places you can see in Nairobi.
Dora Dumpsite, 30 acres of Nairobi's waste. The air surrounding it often has noxious fumes from burning trash, and children living nearby were found to have over the internationally acceptable levels limit of lead in their blood. Next door, the Dandora neighborhood may appear to be a forgotten place.
Thank you so much for this lovely morning. What we are going to do,
But for a proud and ambitious band of concerned caretakers, it's anything but. Once known for crime and garbage, this community has embraced its public spaces, reinvigorating neighbors and finding a new vibrancy.
Okay, the idea was to paint the walls, the facades, since they have been so old. Most of them were built in the early 80s. It has really made the people very interactive. Since when we are starting to paint, everybody were coming out, even those people who were not used to be interactive before, wanting to know what are we doing.
When you work on public space, you can affect a lot of different kind of areas. You can generally improve health, public health, because people breathe healthier air, people get more exercise, you will improve safety and so on. You will improve social cohesion. So for example, in Dandora, the crime rate got reduced significantly. So actually you can think in a creative way how to use the public space, and you can actually affect a lot of different areas, cuts across different sections. Actually, in most of African cities, I think it's not yet known, or it's not being really a big priority to kind of enhance public spaces. So public spaces are eventually very key, because that also often kind of helps to reduce social inequalities, because these are spaces where people from different backgrounds can easily meet, interact, and just talk with each other, rather than just everybody staying in each of their space.
After hearing about Dandora's transformation, Nairobi's provincial governor funded a team of people to clean up the streets of Dandora and Korogocho full-time.
I have a motto that always say, change Dandora, change Nairobi, change Kenya, change Africa. We have so many youths lying idle all over, not Kenya alone, all over Africa. All of them complaining we don't have jobs. But there are those small, petty things we can do in our communities that can bring a huge difference, that can create thousands of jobs.
On the weekends, the new community playgrounds is the hotspot. Children from the surrounding streets jostle for space in line, and it requires someone in charge.
I have been given the job to maintain order here at the swings and make sure that no one is fighting over who gets to go next.
Dandora has become clean. Back then, there was garbage everywhere and it smelled a lot. But these days, it is indeed a nice place. This project has been helpful. Kids now have playgrounds and there are places where people can rest. And it is very clean.
Dandora's transformers focus beyond gardens and greenery. They also made sure to build for children with swings and seesaws, things that Evans never had when he was growing up.
It has reached a time that the children has been neglected, but they also have a right to play. So I decided, it's not only the garden, what about those public spaces if we create them for the children? So at least they know that their right has been secured, because they have the right to play.
Kama sahi
I live in this area and we use this place as children's playground and we do our beading work here. Also, sometimes women braid their hair here.
Funding the startup costs of community parks is a challenge. Groups often need to prove the benefit of green spaces before a community will buy in, both figuratively and literally, to the project. Crews must also gain the trust of the community, who often fear the groups will grab the land, developing the land for their own profit.
I would love them to change this space like they did the others, to make a proper playground so that kids don't play with dirt anymore, to have grass and swings, because by being here, they will develop other talents.
This is the drawing plan for the Portmore site where we are going to work on it. This place, we want to make it as lovely as possible for the community that are living in that area.
Coming up, the transformation begins. The Nairobi River, a thread of grey crossing its namesake before arriving at the neighborhood of Korogocho. 4 days a week, the group, Comb Green Solutions, cleans their section of the river of trash. Often fed by informal dump sites nearby, the supply of floating garbage is never-ending.
When we clean, tomorrow morning you'll find others like that right there.
The river is thick and murky, with waves of black flowing from bags of trash. Researchers have previously found human waste and heavy metal pollutants in its waters.
Our main agenda is restoring Nairobi River and recovering the parent area. We saw that it's not a good picture each and every time the kids would just go and play along the river, which is very dirty and toxic. So it's our duty to show a small example of cleaning Nairobi River.
Korogocho is one of Nairobi's most densely populated informal settlements. About 200,000 people are packed within 1.5 square kilometers. Its name literally means crowded shoulder to shoulder in Kiswahili. Christopher Waitaka grew up here in the houses alongside the river. This settlement was informally built with limited access for public systems like water, sanitation, much less green spaces.
The dump site is that here. We have a lot of smoke. We want a fresh air. We want the upcoming generation to find a better place where they can come rest. Because here in this informal settlement, it's hard to find a place like that.
Believing that everyone has the right to fresh air, including his neighbors, here in Korogocho, Chris and his team decided to make a park. A free community space they carved out of a former dump site that was a haven for crime.
Before we used to rob there, and where the park is now, it was our hiding places, and it was a dump site. When we rob there at the bridge, at the footpath, when we get inside, even the police won't find us.
Chris and his friends decided to leave crime after many of their friends died. He saw an opportunity in entering a competition for improving public spaces, which was started in Dandora. He entered, and Comb Green won an award for the best transformed space in Nairobi. Appreciative of increased security and green spaces, their community now respects their work.
They started to see, they understand it now what we're just doing. No more flying toilets, no more throwing rubbish, because they know that in the other side we have a park, we have a green place where my kids can go and play, where I can go and rest for free, and the security is tight.
Yet for now, the group does their cleanup work for free, without organizational, community or government funding. Their protective wear, only rubber boots, which often prove insufficient. They say they continue to volunteer, hoping to prove their value to their community, who may one day pay them for their services.
So about the labor work, we are the one who provide the labor work because we don't want to fall back into crime, just being left idle, because idle-minded is a devil work.
And there is, unfortunately, a lot to keep them busy.
because we know we can't clean the whole of Nairobi River, but we're just trying to come up with a small example here in our community.
Small examples which can multiply, inspiring the next generation. On the other side of the river, Sunday brings the community together.
Public space is needed. It's like a lung to a city. So this is where the people integrate, the children playing to get a healthy living. It's like a space for the community to be happy and also to engage.
At Evans's next site, the transformation is still a work in progress. The same inventiveness is there. A bench out of old tires and a splash of color. The workers appreciate the opportunity to change their community.
This work is important to me because as youth would always sit down and watch the day end having done nothing. And you realize that you have no ideas. This work has made me a good woman. I am free from drugs, and it is not just me. It has changed many people's lives. With this work we are doing here today, I know that tomorrow the entire Dandora area will have improved step by step.
As another park takes root, Dandora's green revolution continues to attract attention and inspire action. Empowered individuals, supported by their communities, can create change in their own backyard. It's a model many here believe can easily be replicated in Kenya and beyond.
I think this is one of the best practices that should be shared with other cities in Kenya itself, cities in Africa and outside. Nowadays, there are not many public spaces available for children. Increase the accessibility of the people here to the basic amenities, their right to a public space for them to play, giving a human right to the people in Dandora.
What happens in Dandora is it used to be a survival for the fittest. In Dandora, it was only, if it is you, you only think about you and your family, period. No more, no less. Public space is not for the community. How can I plant a grass? Grass, flower, what for? I want a building where at least I'll get money. But nowadays, we only, as youths in Dandora, we only think how we can change our society living in this area, because we believe we are the people with power to make this possible.
Inside Africa, in association with Zenith Bank.